All right, everyone, welcome back for the second session of the day. This is going to be a good one. So it's 10 ways to drive traffic to your website. It's going to be presented by Patrick Harvat, who is one of our account executives here at Sage. He's also the starting right fielder for the Dallas Fighting Squirrels Amateur North Texas Baseball League. So big deal. Follow him online if you don't. He's posting highlights all the time. But Patrick has a really great perspective on everything we're about to talk about, just from his experience in a previous life. So I think you're going to get a lot out of this. Go Squirrels! Yes, Jill, your first fan, Patrick.
Dude, that's great.
So please ask questions in the discussions area. I'm going to come back on at the end if we have some time left, and I'm going to ask questions from the audience to Patrick, and then he will answer them. So I hope everyone enjoyed the first session. That was fantastic. Again, what makes this so much fun is the commentary on all the sessions, so please keep that up. But I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Patrick, and then I'll be back here in a little bit. Go for it, Patrick.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Ryan. So as Ryan mentioned, my name is Patrick Harbat. I'm a East Coast account executive. Probably work with a lot of you guys here currently watching. My background prior to coming to Sage, so this will be year 3 for me. I'm still somewhat new in this industry, but my background was in advertising, sales, and technology. So I have a couple tips and tricks I'm going to share with you guys today that I think can help. Obviously, there's a lot of ways that you can drive traffic to your site. I'm not going to focus today on, you guys spending money on Google AdWords or Facebook ads or anything like that. What I'm actually going to present today is going to be a little bit about some things that you can start doing right now, or maybe some tips and tricks on things that you maybe currently are doing that will help you in terms of actually building more organic traffic. So let's jump into it. It's a fun topic. I'll try and keep it within the time range here, but let's go ahead and jump into it. So there's obviously a lot that goes into play in terms of how companies are ranked and how Google or Yahoo or Bing or whatever will actually rank a company, and algorithms are changing all the time. So, and the reason they do that is to keep your search results the most relevant as possible. So 2 things that have actually stayed constant with, throughout these changes in these algorithms are content and what's called site updates. So that's where we're going to start. Content's king. So as I mentioned, search algorithms are always changing. But one thing that's stayed true is content. And there's a couple of reasons of why content is important. So, and there's various types of content too. So just keep that in mind. We're going to touch on 2 types of content today. So the first part would be, why is content important? So the goal for a search engine is to deliver results that are valuable and relevant to a user. So without it, they don't have enough information to index your page correctly or your site correctly to suggest you as a possible search result. So start with some simpler forms. If you haven't already done this or this doesn't exist on your site, complete your About Us, complete a services page. Make sure you're showcasing and explaining exactly the services that you're offering, and make sure that's clear. You don't want to be confusing or misleading, because that will ultimately penalize you in the long run. Once you get that in place, start incorporating other things, customer testimonials, maybe an image gallery of projects that you guys completed, company news, resource pages, start incorporating white papers. The goal here is to clearly state your intent and the services that you provide to not only be relevant, but maintain relevancy. So after you've accomplished what I would consider the basics of content, start incorporating what's called SEO content. So just a fact here, investing in SEO content is going to add real value to your website and to your business. If you don't have a solid SEO strategy, essentially the pages that are on your site or your site itself is never going to be seen and never shared. It's going to basically live alone, like that shed in the backyard you've been, forgetting to clean out. So let's see what is SEO content. So SEO content, or I guess the quote unquote real term for it, is content SEO. It refers to content on your site that helps pages rank higher in results. So we got some examples here: blogs, case studies, videos. So again, this can be written content, it can be audio content, or it can be video content. So there's various different types here. What I'm going to focus on in this particular part is going to mostly be like blogs and written content. If you guys have a Professional Plus website with us, take advantage of the content integration that we're offering. We'll take care of posting blog articles, case studies, and video content for you on a regular basis. If you're going to do some posting on your own, make sure it's not any simple form of, what you're seeing on this page here. It has to be useful to the visitor. So again, search engines, it's all about relevancy, and having a user experience is extremely important to how they're going to decide to rank your content higher than another. So there's some key fundamentals that I'm going to bring up here that if you guys want to jot some of these down, feel free to. But there's 5 key fundamentals. Now, obviously, if you did some searching online or something like that, you could find a list of probably 30 to 50 key fundamentals. But I'm going to provide what I think are the 5 most important. So number 1 is going to be keywords. Keywords basically help a search engine comprehend the topic of your content. So you probably notice when you read a blog article or something like that, there's tags down at the bottom, or there's links incorporated throughout the piece of content. What these are basically doing is again, helping the search engine comprehend what the subject of that content is. So this can also help you guys determine what content to incorporate into your site. So I encourage you to do some keyword research. If there's high search volume on a particular keyword, let's say tote bags or something like that, it might be worthwhile to write an article or post an article on your site about maybe how tote bags can incorporate some kind of branding at a trade show event or whatever. So there's many ways that you guys can do research. There's paid and free tools online that you can utilize. So I encourage you to kind of check them out, spend 5 minutes, learn a little bit about it. There's a ton of YouTube videos too that you guys can watch that will really incorporate how and to be effective with your research. So I do encourage you to check that out. The next part we're going to talk about, actually there's 3 parts here that are all pretty similar, but they're all pretty much equally important. So when you're actually posting content, think about the length. Longer pieces of content, let's say a blog article or a case study, rank better on search engines than a shorter piece. So try and keep your post, if you guys are going to post yourself, try and keep that around 1,000 words, if not more. Now, don't jumble it all together into one long paragraph. Make it readable. So break that up into paragraphs of 1 to 2 sentences, maybe 3 to 4. That's only going to benefit you in the long run. So, which brings me pretty much right into the next, what I would call other key fundamental, which is readability. So content needs to be easy to read, obviously. Search engines prefer content that also maintains a certain reading level. So remember those tests you used to take back in elementary school where, oh, you test at this particular reading level. It's all about opening up to like a wide range of audience that can see value in this content. So there's no reason to get super technical. There's no reason to use words that only Webster is going to understand. Keep it simple. And moving into what I would say key fundamental number 4 would be formatting. So use headlines, use bullet points to break your article into like key points. So this not only simplifies the reading process and helps break up that length, those other 2 points, but it's also going to focus your reader's eyes on what's important, or I guess your key values that article is about. So those are all, again, very similar, very different. Linking. So number 5 would be linking. Internal and external linking is super important. So link out images and phrases to corresponding pages on your website, whether that's a product, a different article, a testimonial, a piece on your artwork gallery, whatever the case is. Do some internal links. Now, also think about what's called external links. So share those links to those pieces of content, whether it's a video, a blog, a case study, whatever the case is. Share those on other avenues such as public forums, your social media platforms. So not only is this going to provide you an opportunity to grab a new potential reader or visitor, it's also going to make you look more credible. So I have a little thing here that is actually posted directly from Google, and so I'm going to share that with you, of course. So Google basically states, we suggest focusing on ensuring you're offering the best content that you can. That's what our algorithm seeks to reward. So obviously, vast majority of people use Google. They actually hold about 90% of the total search engine market. So it's important to do your absolute best to get rewarded by them. And so those two key points where we're starting here, number one, content, and number two is going to be, and we'll roll into this in a second, is keeping your site updated and keeping your content updated. So this was actually from a Google developers page. I don't have it on this slide, but make your site interesting and useful. Create compelling and useful content that'll likely influence a website more than any other factor. So that's just something I would encourage to start doing if you're not doing already. So updating your website regularly. This is extremely important. So again, this is one of the two things that stayed constant. Google crawls your site about once every 4 days. So it's important to keep the look and the content fresh. So let's think about it. The internet thrives on the latest and greatest, right? All the flashy banners and new featured product layouts, things like that. So it's important to make sure you're maintaining a fresh image. So I'm going to put basically in 3 areas here that you need to start considering if you haven't already. What I would say is probably very important, it's been around for a long time, would be security. So you guys remember the old days where you used to type in HTTP:// that doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. So I think it was 2008, Google changed their laws to where now you'll see HTTPS. So what that basically means is that site is full secure, or it has an SSL. So that stands for Secure Socket Layer. I know that sounds fancy, without getting super technical, it basically just means that your visitors' information and data is private and secure. So you guys are basically maintaining the security laws of what Google would consider as important. So make sure you have a full SSL. Every Sage site that we offer comes with an SSL. So if you guys have a Sage site, don't worry about it, you're secure. But if you don't, I encourage you to make sure your site is secure, because you will get penalized in search engines for that. So the easiest way to determine that is pretty obvious. If you're using Google Chrome, go to your website and it will be flagged not secure. So they will actually flag it. A lot of the times you'll get a security protocol message saying this site is not secure, whatever. So that's the dead giveaway if you have that not secure tag up there. So security is super important. To kind of go hand in hand with what we just talked about in terms of content, keeping your site updated, the other part here would be posting and updating your content regularly. So Google obviously loves, as we saw there, new and fresh content. So publishing content regularly is going to yield you higher rankings, especially in topics that change frequently. So let's just think about how many different articles we've read about supply chain issues or this industry in general that have happened over the last 2 years. A lot, and a lot has changed. And so that content's getting updated regularly. So go to your site, check out the content you've had. If you have an old, outdated About Us, or maybe you posted a blog article 5 years ago or something like that, go in and make a quick update. Keep that fresh. Basically what that's going to improve is what's called domain authority. So I know that sounds fancy, but essentially what that means is your ranking or your score, the strength of your domain. So go back through your content, ensure it stayed up to date, correct whatever you need to correct, or if you have a Sage site, like I said, reach out to your Sage rep and have us take care of those updates for you. And I guess my other point to posting content regularly beyond, the growth in terms of just search engine, being able to be found on a search engine would be customer confidence. I mean, what do you guys think when you go to a website that maybe had a copyright date of 2016? You go through their old posts. The last post was from 2014. would your assumption be that they're still in business, or that they, are working their way out of business? So just keep that in mind too. Look at your own site. If it hasn't been updated in a long time in terms of the content on there, odds are other people might think the same thing. So the other part I'll get to is kind of the flashy part. So website design. So as I mentioned, we're always looking for the latest and greatest, the most eye-catching feature. So think about this. When was the last time you changed the aesthetics on your website? So too many businesses focus on driving traffic to their site, but then they totally forget that it just looks outdated. So what you can basically do is take a look at some of the trends. Think about the sites that you go to and how they look and how you navigate them. And is yours anything close to that? So that would be probably the biggest factor there. You're now seeing, again, video banners or videos that start once you visit a site, and start incorporating that. And then another important part would be, is your site mobile friendly? Have you updated it to where it's mobile friendly? Are you still forcing your visitors to pinch their fingers? So you're going to get penalized online for that too. So you're killing your searchability or your discoverability by not having a mobile friendly site. So easy way to do it, outside of course, just pulling it up on your phone. Up in the top corner of your screen, just stretch it all the way down to the smallest possible box that you can. If your site scales, then it's mobile friendly. So again, if you're not operating a mobile friendly website, you're doing yourself a disservice. So those are what I think are the two most important factors. And then let's talk about some other ways that you guys can start growing traffic here. So I had another quick article here. The Google bot that crawls the web is constantly searching for pages that are new and updated. So again, keep that fresh. You're only going to benefit yourself in the long run. Now, speaking of Google, and I notice a lot of people don't do this for whatever reason. I know a lot of these businesses, you guys are operating from your own home, and trust me, I understand you don't want your home address to be found online. I totally get it. But according to a 2020 study from Google, their business profile is one of the best and easiest things to do for local SEO. So a lot of you guys work in local markets. I encourage you to build a Google business profile if you haven't already. So what is a Google business profile? I mean, it's pretty straightforward, you would think. It's a free tool that allows you to take charge of your own business and how you appear on Google and Google Maps. So with your profile, you can basically connect with customers. You can post updates. You can list your products and services. If you're obviously a company like, a restaurant or something, you can of course accept online orders, etc. But there's a lot of factors that go into how they're ranking. So you guys have probably seen that slide I got up right now, how that looks when you search for like a local pizza restaurant or whatever. So there's a lot of reasons why stuff appears how it appears. So I'm going to focus on 3 here. It's called relevancy, proximity, and then prominence. So relevancy, pretty obvious here, is what your profile is about, a service that a customer would be searching for. So again, make sure you're putting the services and being accurate about the services that you're providing. So if you're a t-shirt shop, or if you're a screen printer, or if you're a sign shop, or doing promotional products, obviously you're going to want to include that too. Proximity is also a pretty obvious one. What's the distance from the person doing the searching? So that's one of those factors that goes into play for just that, what we would call local SEO. And then prominence. Are you maintaining updates? Are you updating your profile with new pictures, new reviews, so on and so forth? So if you haven't already, claim your listing, complete your profile, but keep in mind everything that's on your Google profile needs to go hand in hand with what's on your website. Do not be misleading. Do not use stuff that just wouldn't make sense for the services that you're offering. So I have a quick little slide that I'll show you the 8 steps of creating this, and I believe we'll probably share this with you guys too. So step 1 would obviously be go to google.com/business, log into your account, enter your business name and address, and start creating your profile. So if you work from home, which this is one part I want to touch on here, So if you work from home, and again, I understand a lot of you guys are running business out of your own home. So keep in mind, you don't have to display an address. What you can basically do is hide your address and set up a radius of business that you would operate in. So that's super important. Again, I understand that you guys, not everybody wants to display their home address, so on and so forth. So there are ways around it. Step 5, choosing your primary categories. So again, this would be screen printing, custom t-shirts, whatever, use your keywords that explain the services that you provide, and make sure that you're using those as your categories on your business profile. So a quick example would be, let's say you're a pizza shop and somebody searches for Italian restaurants. Well, odds are you're not going to pull up, right? Because you didn't choose that category. But if they choose in best pizza in my area, then you have more of a chance of actually appearing in that particular result. So that's just a quick, easy example for you. Make sure to obviously add your phone number, your website, your business line, so on and so forth. If you don't have a business line set up a Google Voice. It's free. And then basically what that is it's a number that will just direct back to your cell phone, but it's essentially a business line. What they'll basically do after you complete everything is they're going to verify you. So you'll receive something in the mail. You just have to verify it, send it back. It's pretty simple. But don't just let it die online. Keep it up to date. Maybe once a year, once a quarter, whatever. Go in, add some content, add some more images. Encourage your customers to write reviews about you. Super important. So on the whole note of profiles, let's talk about this one, social media. So believe it or not, there's 3.4 billion active users on social media. So it's the largest asset to your brand awareness. If you have not set up a social media platform, I know a lot of you have, but if you have not, I highly encourage setting up at least like a Facebook or a LinkedIn page. So again, make sure to add your website. You can add services and all that stuff, just like your Google platform. So make sure you're adding services you offer, images of projects you've completed. But most importantly, post regularly to engage with your audience. So a general rule of thumb when I used to sell social media advertising at my previous company is if you have 0 to 500 followers, you should be posting once a week. Even if that's an image, or if you're writing these blogs, or you're utilizing the Sage Pro Plus site where you get the blogs and all that stuff, share that. So that basically jump the gun on this slide, but share the content from your website to your social platforms and make sure they link back to your site. So this could be via story on Instagram. It could be a general post on your company timeline. It could be an image, kind of like this one with the shoes here, where it's tagged to, when they click it, it goes back to your website. Something as simple as that. And then what's nice about that is your company followers can also tag their friends and their followers if they find something interesting. So what that's basically going to do is expand your link beyond your own profile. And then I'm going to sound like a real millennial here, but embrace the hashtag and the @ signs. I know it's intimidating. Some people think it's stupid, but it's super important. When you complete a project for a customer, do something simple. Follow them on their company Instagram and @ them. So you basically do the @ sign. You're tagging your post, or maybe it's a picture of the project you completed for them. Tag them. Include the hashtags of the brand. If it was, let's say, like a Richardson hat or something like that, hashtag Richardson caps or hashtag tote bag. Whatever you need to do. Try and expand your reach again beyond your own profile. So that's kind of my gist on social media. I was actually looking on YouTube. There's a ton of stuff on how to properly use hashtags and @. So some of you might be more savvy than me too, but let's jump into probably the most traditional, which I would say if you're not doing this, this is a very good start to any kind of way to drive traffic to your site. So obviously email marketing is the most common and probably the easiest way to start building website traffic, even if it's just through prospects or current customers. But why is it important? I mean, it's not going anywhere. I know a lot of it goes to our junk, right? Or we delete it. But it's been around for years. It's not going anywhere. So why is it important? Well, it's the most important part of it is staying top of mind with your customers. So even if it's a general information post or a general product post or email, make sure you're sending that information out. Create a schedule and stick to it. If it's once every 2 weeks or once a month, stick to it. Too often companies assume, hey, I'm going to send this one email campaign out, and they expect it to yield a sale, and then they're disappointed and they never do it again. The goal is to remain at the forefront of your customer's mind when they're getting ready to be on the path to purchase. And you never know when that might be. So stick to your schedule. Make sure there's links back to your website. Just like everything we've talked about so far, make sure you have links back to your website. So if you have a logo up at the top, make sure it links back to your site. If you're doing product images or something like this, or a more info button, make sure that links back to your site, and make sure it links back to the corresponding page on your site. The last thing you want to do is just drop them on your home page. If it's a product specific email, drop them on your home page and then they have to go search and find it. They're just going to leave. So take a little bit of time, put some effort into it, create that schedule, create your links, and include your social links as well. So a couple email marketing ideas that I'm going to throw at you guys. A lot of these are pretty obvious. So we'll start at the most common, which would be specials, right? Run your own specials, whether they're quarterly, seasonally, or once a year. Start creating your own specials and get creative about these specials. Think about what makes you open an email. You get a lot of them. We all do. What makes you actually open that one? And try and incorporate some of those things that you're seeing into your own campaign. So some ideas here in terms of specials could be maybe the top 5, categories of products that you sold last month or last year, and try and entice your customers to come and visit your site and shop around on your site. Doesn't all have to be specials and product related though. Like I mentioned, company news, events, that's super important. If you guys are going to be at a local trade show, or if you guys are sponsoring a local event or whatever's going on, throw together a campaign, invite your customers out there. Company updates is another big thing. If you're going through a rebrand, or you just got a new website, or you just started a new social media platform or whatever, send out a campaign and entice people to actually start following you or keep up with that information. And then I would say there's some other stuff here, email subscriber only discounts. I mentioned the top 5 products, but what a lot of people do is they'll put together an email list and they'll send out or hit their list, but then they really have no way to actually grow their list. So unless you're bringing on new customers or cold calling or going to visit local businesses, there's no way to really grow your list organically. So one thing to keep in mind too would be on your actual website, have something there to capture that person's information and then entice them to subscribe. It could be something as simple as, enter for a free raffle or register for our email list or our newsletter to get access to exclusive specials. It doesn't have to necessarily mean that you're giving somebody something right then and there. Obviously, if you are, that's going to work. And then also promote that on your social platforms too. So speaking of, I guess, giving away things, website giveaways. So speaking of incentives, have you guys ever ran a promotion directly on your site? So there's multiple ways you can do that, whether it's just straight up verbiage. My favorite way would be the pop-up ads. So show you a quick example here. What do you think about when you hear pop-up ads? Annoying, right? They get in the way, whatever. So believe it or not, they're actually the most effective way to advertise products and entice an action. So you have a new visitor, why not maximize your visibility and boost your own brand with a pop-up ad? You can set frequency and stuff like that. Maybe it's a first time visit, and then you're not going to bug them with it again. So create something like that And it doesn't have to necessarily be, hey, click here to get 10% off, or register here to get 10% off, or whatever. It could be something as simple as you guys requesting feedback to learn more about your customer experience to make your site better. It doesn't have to necessarily be a special. It's just another way for you guys to capture that information. If you're promoting something like a 10% off or a raffle for a free product or something like that, push this special over to your social platform, entice them to come to your website and fill out a form, or, you know, click the sign up button or whatever, so you can capture that information. Product presentations. So I'm assuming everybody here, if not most people here, are Sage members, and you probably use the presentation tool at some point. Did you know that you can post your sales presentations directly to your Sage site? It's a super easy way to present, obviously, product information to your customer, but also give them the opportunity to search for something else. You never know when they might have that next event, or maybe they might be looking for a different piece of apparel, or, you know, different cups for the office, or different pens and notebooks. Even though you're presenting them tumblers, they might have another need, or might just have some interest in seeing what else you can offer. So I would encourage you to post your presentations to your Sage site, so you guys can, you know, utilize that search component. I mean, it's already pre-qualified traffic. It's already your customer. It's already your lead. Why not give them the opportunity to search for more? And then incorporate showrooms. So if you have a professional or professional plus with us, you guys have access to what's called a showroom. So I'm going to touch on two things here, which I think are important. And again, this is all going to be getting qualified traffic to visit your site. Or I guess pre-qualified, excuse me. So we all have a few customers that order the same products regularly, right? So develop a showroom and populate that showroom with those products. Not only is it going to make referencing that past order for them much easier, but it's also going to make the reorder process easier. So it's simple for both you and the customer. Additionally, and this is obvious, it's going to bring them to your site where they can view those past orders of those past products and also search for more. So do yourself a favor. The next order you've done with one of your better customers, create a showroom. When you finish their project, send them a link and say, hey, I put this together for you guys so you can reference this for the future. And, you know, next time when they're going for that reorder, send them the link again. And you can get creative with this too. Do a thank you gift. Create a showroom as a thank you gift. So beyond the reorders, try something different. You know, if what you're doing right now isn't working, you need to try something different. Create a showroom with a few products. Could be something cheap, you know, a pen with your company name on it, or it could be a mouse pad. You know, it doesn't have to be anything super crazy. Or maybe you guys do a bunch of custom t-shirts and you just want to send something out as a thank you gift. Create a showroom on your site, include a couple products. When you complete that project for that customer, send them the link, tell them to go grab their gift. So again, the whole goal of this is to bring back current customers to your site regularly. It's already pre-qualified traffic. So this one's a little different. Be a thought leader. So there's a lot of you in here and a lot of people I've talked to, you know, throughout my 3 years here that have a lot of insight about this industry. And a lot of you share that with me. You share it with associates. I see it on social media. I see it on different industry blogs. So I encourage you, if you haven't done this and you do consider yourself as what I would consider a thought leader, share your experiences, your successes, your failures. Take advantage of the knowledge you've gained from being in this industry for this amount of time, and share your story. So a couple of ways that you guys can share it, pretty simple. Again, I mentioned a couple of them right there. There's a lot of industry blogs. So see if you can make a post on there. Talk about your basically your successes or your failures, or give some insight on what's happening in the industry to maybe help out a new upcoming distributor, or maybe a struggling distributor. That's only going to make yourself look more credible, and it is, of course, going to in turn drive additional traffic to your site, because these are public forums. So think about this. There's a lot of regional trade associations. Every single one of us has a local chamber of commerce. Some of these put on events, so on and so forth. So see if you can grab a guest speaker slot and talk about the impact of promotional products or the impact of printed products or whatever your niche is. Talk about the impact of these types of things we do in our industry on brands. People would absolutely be welcome to that. And not only is it going to make you look more credible, it's going to drive more traffic to your site. Additionally, see if you can pick up a session on a podcast. I see those happen all the time in this industry too. So see if maybe you can grab a session on a podcast, promote your company. Though I guarantee they'll probably allow it. You might have to keep it, within reason, but explain your experiences, your failures, your successes, whatever, share that. And then lastly, number 10, this one's pretty obvious. Send your customers there. So we all focus on so many ways to build traffic outside of what's just existing on our own site and the tools we have access to on our own site. All we're looking for is action, right? And that's a lot of the times what we think about. So have a definition, have your own definition of what you consider is a site conversion and what will keep your visitors returning to your site. So I have a couple examples here, and a lot of these are included if you guys have a Sage website with us, at least a Pro or Pro Plus option with us. Artwork upload. If you've never used that, try it out. Next project you take on with one of your customers, have them come to your website and upload their artwork. Again, you're already driving pre-qualified traffic to that site. So give it a shot if you haven't already. The artwork comes directly back to you, and it gives them that opportunity to search for potential other products that maybe you're not even thinking about presenting them right now. Pay my bill. Utilize your Pay My Bill link. A lot of you might not know this, but you do have a link on those sites where they can pay their bill online. They punch in their invoice and they submit payment. And again, you're driving pre-qualified traffic back to your site to possibly do some additional searching. Live chat function. If you don't have Sage Chat enabled on your site, I encourage it, especially now that it was released on the Sage Mobile. You don't have to sit in front of your computer and monitor your chat. You're basically setting up a call group. You're setting up your hours of operation. There's a lot of outside programs that you can incorporate too if you don't have a Sage website. So enable a live chat feature. So not only would you quickly be able to address maybe a customer that you sent theirs needs, but anybody who basically stumbles on your site from an outside, maybe it's from a social media link, or maybe it's just from a quick Google search. Those are going to be your hottest leads. If they engage with you on Sage Chat or a chat function in period, it's a hot lead. They're on the path to purchase. You got to just steer them down. So it's a perfect opportunity for you guys to capture literally your hottest leads. And then lastly, I would say analytics. Pay attention to your analytics. So this one isn't so much probably building site traffic, but it's more so giving you an understanding of the behaviors that are happening on your site, and maybe even some opportunities to develop marketing campaigns. So depending on whether you have a Sage site or an outside site, there's probably some kind of analytic feature. I know for a fact, at least on our Pro or Pro Plus level, you have access to the top searched keywords. You can see where your traffic came from, and you can choose different date ranges. So think about this. What was the most searched product that happened on your website last month? And do you know that? And do you have access to know that? So if you don't have any kind of analytical reporting and you're planning on incorporating some marketing campaigns into your strategy for this year, then I would highly recommend getting some understanding of behaviors that are happening on your site. It's only going to benefit you. So that's about it. That's the top 10 there. So I'll open it up to some questions, and we'll kind of see if there's any questions in the chat. Ryan?
Yeah, Patrick, amazing. And thank you so much for all the feedback, the questions, the positivity. Fantastic. I'm pumped up. I want us all to maximize our website presence. So Patrick, if people that are in attendance right now, they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything that you mentioned. What would you recommend someone doing to start? Like, what's the best and easiest place to start?
I would say if you're not doing anything, email marketing would be step numero uno. You need to be staying top of mind with prospects. If you're going to see customers, again, whether you're doing cold calls or visiting businesses, you're collecting business cards or you're chatting with business owners, you need to stay top of mind. Again, maintain a schedule and do it regularly. Don't give up on it if you don't get a purchase right away.
That's great advice. We have just a couple of minutes. We have so many questions. If we don't get to your question, we'll have someone follow up, I promise. All right, Patrick, does updating a page with new content count as new content, or should you always create like a brand new page, for example?
So, I mean, it will pretty much count as new content. It'll count. Google will read that as updated new content. So once you make that update and hit save, typically it's going to update the date of that piece of content as well.
Good deal. I'm gonna ask you one more question. Do you think paying for ads on social media is worth it?
It's hard to say. It can get very expensive. So I can't say it's not worth it because it absolutely works for a lot of people. And organizations like Facebook or something like that give you access to a lot of demographic data where you can really hone in not only on a geographic location, but even down to the age of a possible individual that could be a decision maker that you're going after. Do I think it's worth it? Absolutely. I would just say be mindful. You could get down the rabbit hole of spending some money if you don't really know what you're doing. I would highly recommend getting some consultation on it and doing your research before you do it. But is it worth it? 100%.
Cool. All right, I appreciate it. A few more things to note. Several people asked about the slideshow information. So if you look down below your screen, if you just scroll down a little bit next to Patrick's name, you'll see resources, and you can grab this entire deck and download it if you want. And then obviously the session has also been recorded. A few other random questions that I can touch on real quick. Do you need your customers' permission to display their product on your website? I think it's a good rule of thumb for sure to ask them, hey, can I list this project as a case study on my website? You know, as mentioned, if you're looking at someone's website and you're thinking about doing business with them, I'd rather see the projects that they've done versus just take their word for it, right? So put your case studies up there and ask your customers and ask them to share and tag you if they're going to be using those products on social media also. Yeah. Really great dialogue to have with them. So again, thanks everyone. Awesome job, Patrick. That was fantastic. We're going to take a 2-minute break. And next up, we're going to have Andy Evans talking about what we just mentioned, case studies with an emphasis on responsibility and sustainability. So come back to the main stage in about 2 minutes. Thank you.